Hello, everybody. I'm really happy to be here. And full disclosure, when I came here, I thought I'll impart a few things. I'll tell you a few things that you guys don't know. But having been here for about an hour, I don't think there's anything that you guys can learn from me. I'm taking back a lot from here. First of all, Kiran, you're such a good teacher. I'm not sure if you hear this very often. Do you guys agree? She's such a wonderful teacher, right? I absolutely enjoyed it, and all the conversations that we're having before me. One particular thing that stayed with me was how AI is really taking away our jobs. And I was kind of feeling safe because my job is to speak and process content first and then come out with stuff. It'll take AI some time to make jokes on stuff, right? But still, I wonder, every day when I use all these technology, all these apps that I come across, I sit and wonder and worry, when is it going to happen? So with a show of hands, I want to know how many people really spend some time thinking, wondering and worrying if AI is going to take our jobs. Do you ever think about it? Do you ever think that AI is coming? With a show of hands?
No, not really.
You know,
Not in our generation.
but I'll tell you, the time is moving really fast and it's just catching up way faster than we think. I'll be very happy if it takes away my job, provided my salary is intact. I don't really worry about job as much, right? And with that being said, I want to move on to how it's changing the world I live in, the world of media and radio particularly, and internet, because we spend a lot of time on internet these days, and we ourselves are a part of media. We are our own media companies, all of us. Every individual these days, if you have a Facebook and a Twitter and a Instagram and all these platforms, you, sir and ma'am, are a media company yourselves. So pay close attention to what I'm going to talk about. First, next slide, please. And, well, I'll do it. Y2K. Okay, again, with a show of hands, how many people have heard this term, know about it, Y2K? All those people who are raising their hands are going to feel really old in next 10 seconds. And to everybody who didn't, well, kids, back in our days, in the year 2000 and before that, computers used to process dates with only 2 digits for a year. And we all thought we'll survive this. And all got really scared when we realized, oh my God, the year is changing, the millennium is changing. How do we process that? Because if we say the same 2-digit year format in the next millennium, it's going to be quite a lot of problem, because we've already used those 2 digits. And how our computers are going to process that? How do we process that? That was the time when I was in school and was learning computers. I thought this is the end of it. To my surprise and everybody's surprise, and nothing happened really. It's like how in 2012 they said the world's going to end. Something similar to that, but nothing really happened. So to the point where a lot of us think that, will it change the world? It will. Will it change, the fight for us? Yes. But will we survive? Also, yes. So I actually searched for the word disrupt. It means to alter things drastically. We've seen all that happening already. बहुत सारी चीज़ें, the things that we knew have changed. And when we talk about media, the disruption, the graph was like this for a very long time. Nowadays, it's like going this way. So the first time when India got a newspaper was in the year 1780. Hickey's Bengal Gazette. And then for a long time, years, decades, people came and went away and nothing changed. They only read newspaper as their source of information. And then disruption happened. In 1923, radio came to India. From a small room in Mumbai, which was known as Bombay back then, they broadcasted something, a small program, which hardly anybody heard because there was no radio sets to receive that data. Then, did you see the time? 1923 to 1959. Till that time, nothing changed. Television came. This was the first telecast, by the way. Nobody was watching what was being broadcasted at all. Daily transmission started in 1965. Yeah, 7 years later. And then national transmission in 1982. This was also the first time when color transmission happened in India. Indira Gandhi, the then Prime Minister, spoke the 15th August speech in color. That was one of the biggest disruptors of its time. And then came internet, then came Y2K, and then came the possibility of TV channels, and Z came, and Sony came in picture. And these days, if you look at a channel guide, it looks like this. You don't know which one to watch and which one to skip. I have 2 channels that I watch. 2. That is it. Only when I'm having dinner, that is. And then came these disruptors. I'm sure everybody here has either one or more of these. Who has Netflix? Who doesn't have Netflix? Yeah. So, 3 people there. Wonderful, good job. With all the peer pressure and all the way the things are changing. But I also want to, change happened. I also want to talk about why did it happen. Any funda as to why do you think we moved to these things so quickly? Why did we adopt this technology so quickly? What was the gap here in the business model of a television and a radio and these OTT channels? Yeah, this was the biggest thing. How many people here hate it when somebody calls them? I do, because can't you just simply message me? I'm driving, I'm eating, I'm sleeping, I'm doing something. I absolutely 99% avoid all the phone calls and write them back immediately. Not that I'm going to stalling this conversation. If somebody important is calling me, I will a lot of times will not take the call and message right away. Please text. I'm in a meeting. What does it do? What basic thing that it provides us as human beings? The convenience that I want to consume this content at my time. When a phone rings, it needs immediate attention. Immediate attention. You need to pick it right away, otherwise the call is lost. Or you have to call them back and then you need their attention to answer it. But in the case of a text, you can just simply text them and they will look at it and reply whenever they have time. That's not the case with telephone and TV and radio. If you miss something, you miss it. So what's important is your attention, and that is the product that everybody is trying to get. Somebody was asking me, how do these companies, YouTube and Facebook and radio for that matter, how do you guys survive without taking any money from us? So I say, if you think that on radio music is the product, it's not true. If you're consuming that content, you, sir, and ma'am are the product. It's the other way around. You're the product, the person who's consuming that content, because we get to tell our advertisers that we have their attention. All thanks to all the traffic jams that you guys get stuck into. Make people tune into radio for longer hours. I mean, in Pune city, I have so many people who probably live in Magarpatta and Kharadi areas and go to Hinjewadi, God bless their soul. They spend 1.5 hours in bad traffic and listen to me very patiently. And of course, they can always tune into a podcast these days. They can listen to their own music. But the difference is nobody wants to do any work. We have an app to call food. What is it that we want to leave for decision making? They want somebody to curate that playlist for them. And as of now, we're the only human beings sitting behind a console doing it for them. So, yeah, let's wait for AI to take over there. So, what we need to do, and they are trying to do, is to hack our culture. The way we think, the way we behave, that's what every company is trying to do. They think, okay, you don't want to go anywhere these days. You don't really want to go out because it's traffic. Swiggy thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to give you food at home. You don't have time to go to spa. Some company came and said, you know what? Wait, I'll send the masseuse to your place. You don't really have to do anything. Just give us your money. This is the same thought process I want all of you to have. One, it will help you in business. I'm not a business guy, but it definitely is going to help you a lot in business. That's how I think when I'm talking to you over the radio. And if you listen to my show, I don't really want to sound like a person who's shouting from the top of a mountain or speaking to a group of thousands and lakhs of people. I always speak on radio as if I'm talking to one person. Only one person. And I actually have an image of that person. There are about 50 characteristics written down of an imaginary person. What does he do? How does he look like, he or she? And what do they eat? Where do they like to go? And that person is very similar to how I think, of course. And that's the kind of people then I attract for my show. So start thinking like that, because you have this tool called Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, which started as social media. It's not media, it's social media, but that's how it started. But it's not only social media now. It is a full-fledged marketing and business tool nowadays. We all, of course, know that. Things like I said, we all hate hacking culture in the way that we all hate phone calls. Is there a solution you can provide? We all love binge watching, right? How many people have binge watched something? You know, there was a time when we used to actually go in front of the TV at a particular time, leaving everything. Women will leave their children. You won't believe me, but there were series like Mahabharata and whatnot, and will sit in front of the TV glued for an hour and watching that. Now we don't do that. We sit on a Saturday morning at 11 a.m. and finish Game of Thrones season by the end of Sunday evening. How many people have done this? Raise your hand. Yes. The next season is coming in April. Congratulations. So there's an opportunity for you to hack culture and use it to your advantage. You could be, anything. What do you want to be? What kind of business do you want to create? Do you want to impart some sort of knowledge, some sort of entertainment? You are your own entity, which is a great power. There are people who are called influencers. Have you heard of influencers? People who actually charge money to influence their audience on Instagram or YouTube to sell a particular product or an idea. They're called influencers. But with that comes a responsibility. Now, this is the most important thing that I wanted to say. This is not about business. This is not about management as much as it is about moral values, and something that I really have very close to my heart, which is when we were taught in journalism and media school that if you go in front of a mic, what are the things that you're going to take care of? The things that a lot of our TV hosts, a lot of our journalists are not doing these days. They're simply inciting emotions. Do you ever sit in front of a TV or a news debate and feel, oh my God, this is just plain inciting people? This is not true, right? You feel that, right? So that's where I want you also to assume the same responsibility. If you are going to post something, I request you to just wait for a minute, ask a few questions. What is it going to do? It's how many people follow me? How many people is it going to? What is the demographics? How many kids are there in my Facebook? How many women are there in my Facebook? How many old people? How many business people? And how is it going to impact them? How is it going to, am I going to really change an opinion, or I'm going to make an opinion? Somebody sent me a message this morning that, what is it that starts with O and ends with NIONS and can make you cry. Yeah. So everybody thinks it's onions, but opinions are a bigger this thing. And everybody's doing it. So, and what happens is when on social media we put up something, it's the same thing that we've been thinking all the while, but these days when you see people, trolls, have you heard the term trolls? They write all kinds of stupid things on internet. These are anonymous people who you don't know who they are, but the only job is to tickle people and, get things out of them. The only reason is there were things that they didn't get to say in a civilized society back then. Now they have a voice, and that too anonymous. So it's not really changing anything the way we were thinking. It's just exposing things in a better light. So we just need to realize this fact. And speaking of how radio is surviving and how radio plans to survive in an environment like this, we actually decide who our audience is. Who is our target group? Who are we catering? If you listen to every radio station in the country, you will realize that just 5 years ago, we were a radio station for the whole family. Now we are not. We have a very specific person that we think of. We know the age group, we know their habits and everything, and that's the group that we target, and the rest of it is okay. If they listen to it, good. If they don't, good. And with all this information, I'm going to conclude this by just saying that just like you, I consume a lot of Twitter, I consume a lot of Instagram or Facebook, and I read half of it, that whatever comes my way. And I'm somebody, like, for instance, if you're reading and getting information from any place that's bothering you or that's exciting you or that's making you angry or that's making you happy, you probably tell it to your friends and then it ends there. I'm somebody, if I am angry about something, if I don't keep calm, I may just go ahead and switch on the radio mic and say it on radio. So how do I tackle this, and how do I want you guys to tackle this? One simple thing. Whenever I switch on my mic, I take 2 minutes before I want to say anything. Every time I go on radio, I get a lot of instances. It's a 5-hour show that I do, so I get to speak a lot. A lot of times, I switch on and off that mic. And there are a lot of times this temptation to just speak the emotions out about some very relevant topic, which if I say, a lot of people will listen to and act upon, but I should not, because I'm not really sure if the information is right, I'm not really sure if it is the right thing to say or the justified thing to say. I take 2 minutes, meditate for a while, and I go on and say that. I wish you all the best, and I hope and wish that you guys practice the same. And if I will not, I've taken a lot of time already. I will not take any questions, but if you have any, you can always find me on social media. Hit me up, feel free, not just today, because I know you are getting an information overload right from the morning. So at any point of time, you have any questions which you think I can answer, feel free to get in touch with me. I will be happy to help. Thank you so much.